Good afternoon, class. I just wanted to highlight this week's modular, week two. I really felt like this week's modular was really interesting. We had a variety of topics to highlight this week, from ESL learners to adult learners, from the LGBTQIA students to student athletes to also our student veterans. So I think this week gave us a really diverse set of topics to really highlight. I really want to go into the LGBTQ students. I think those are the students that have been really trendy on a lot of campuses, not only community colleges, but also four-year institutions. So I think it's more so adjusting to the college life is a difficult proposition for many high school graduates today. I feel like when you compile those challenges with the issues surrounding students of sexual minorities, the adjustment phase becomes even more complex. More LGBT students are facing bigotry from their peers and their faculty, and a lot of hate crimes are not uncommon for many of these young adults. But moving forward, I think the good news is that more colleges are reaching out to their LGBT communities and providing them with more support and resources to succeed in their post-secondary academic careers. Um, and I think it's important that we acknowledge that some community colleges have overcome these hurdles and figure out how do we move forward with making sure that this population is supported and loved throughout their post-secondary career. So I wanted to highlight that a lot of the sexual minorities are not an easy segment for the population at community colleges. So I think the first obstacle is pretty much like the lack of data on just how many LGBT students might be residing on the college campuses. So we need to acknowledge that. I think it's due to more so the outdated information that we have with not having evaluations and assessments and those particular data that acknowledges those of that community. So it's pretty, and we don't really know where the sexual identities are being acknowledged from their teachers and their peers. So I think it's best that we come together and really acknowledge those things. Even those who want to study the LGBT population may be hesitant to express their desires due to this mistaken perception that they might also be gay as well. So sometimes we don't want to acknowledge those students because we don't want to acknowledge ourselves as staff members who are placed within that community as well. So I mean that brings along a topic that is really hard for a lot of our college campuses to address. And I think that stigma has really hindered has affected the careers of many teachers in that field of education. So I think that's a topic. I think that's something we should look at moving forward. As far as like hate crimes, there's a large concern with the LGBT students with the hate crimes on a lot of campuses. And I was reading that the Eric Digest has an anti-gay segment on college campuses. It's a well-known document for four-year institutions. But however, there is a lack of data and studies on the LGBTQ students that are on the community college campuses. And this leaves researchers unsure about the specific impact of how crimes on community colleges affect not only the students, but also the faculty and staff and administrators. Moving forward, I feel like the LGBT students on college campuses have a very specific need in terms of making sense of their sexual identities and creating meaningful relationships with their peers. I think moving forward, we need to acknowledge in a good way that our community colleges are beginning to recognize this portion of their population. So, and that allows us to create more support for them, not only through resources, but activities that we can provide for them on our campuses to make them feel safe. I know coming from a HBCU, a lot, we had a segment from our Gay Straight Alliance, and it also highlighted, it was a program called um, Gay Greeks. And we wanted to acknowledge how the students who are Greek are marginalized by their sexual identities. So I think that's something that that was great, and it gave us an opportunity to look at something outside of the segment of not just student activities and financial aid and getting enrollment of those who are a part of the LGBT community, but understanding how it eliminates them from being a part of selective organizations. So I think that's something that we need to look into. I think the Gay Straight Alliance is a great organization, and it offers education and support for a lot of the LGBTQ students and those who are interested in learning more about this segment of the population. And through a collaboration of peer and professional and group meetings, this organization plans to educate students on the surrounding communities about the issues that are facing LGBTQ students. So I think that's something that we need to look forward to. But as a whole, I think these chapters were really, really interesting, especially for me, understanding how to support our LGBTQ students, because it is becoming a major trend at our institutions. So understanding that. So just moving forward, I just think it's important that we create more support groups and educating and challenging our students on the importance of the LGBTQ students here on our campuses, as well as other surrounding campuses, and also understanding the effect that it has not only on us professionally, but also personally. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and have a good evening.